Okay, so here's a quick video on how to use the assets that you got that are the brushes and patterns with the Affinity version of the Rasterization Kit. So here's some artwork that's basically ready to go. I just have the artwork on one layer and just a black background, so you can kind of see what's going on. So the brushes are pretty straightforward. All you have to do is with the layer that you want to add the distress to, make sure it's selected, and then click on the mask icon to apply a mask. Then basically grab whatever brush, make sure you have the brush tool active, grab your brush, and I'm just using my mouse, and I can scale up the size of my brush up and down by using open and close bracket. So if you do open bracket, it'll scale it down. If you use close bracket, it'll scale it up. So with that brush selected, make sure we're painting with the color black. I have my swatches panel out. So over here it has some default perfect black, 50% gray, and white. I'm just going to select the black. And then I can basically kind of come in and paint away stuff. So if you have a graphics tablet, you'll get a little more nuance with it. So you can really softly start dropping stuff in, or you can change the flow. Opacity, you don't want to play with. Flow is the one you'll probably want to play with because it's the amount of times it's stamping that specific brush tip. So, or just kind of lightly click. Keep clicking, clicking, clicking. I don't know if the mic's picking that up, but you can do it that way. Then you can also do the reverse. So if you've knocked too much out, switch to white. Paint some stuff back in. So you can kind of really mix it up. And that's my suggestion: is don't get stuck on one brush as one look. Switch them up the entire time. Because the breaks and stuff, they happen randomly. It's just the way the shirts fold and all sorts of stuff. And then when you're done with one, maybe use the negative version to paint back in and break some of that stuff up. So that's one way to use the assets, and that's the press effects brushes that you actually get with the kit. So I'm going to delete that mask, and the next route is with the patterns. It's seamless patterns. So the way that we're going to use this one is a little different, and you want to make sure that you're doing this within a group. So I'm going to take the main artwork, and I'm going to click the little folder icon to throw it in a group. Next thing, I'm just going to select the artwork. That doesn't really matter all that much. You just want to make sure you're inside, so when you create something new, it stays in that folder. So I'm going to use the vector shape, the rectangle tool, click and drag, and you'll see it's already pretty much prepared from what I had it when I was testing earlier. So what you'll do is just grab that vector shape, and I guess for the sake of it, let me just swap it back to what it should be, is solid. So you'll have a solid shape generally to start off with. Drag and then snap it. I just basically cover all the artwork, make sure it's in the folder. And then what you're going to want to do is what the reverse of what you just saw is make sure you have to click on your gradient tool, and with that layer selected, that rectangle shape, go to the type settings and switch to bitmap. Navigate to your rasterization kit, go inside the patterns, and then select a pattern. So you have the negative and positive of each version. So you're probably going to want to use the lighter versions for this, because that's essentially the way we're doing this. We're going to be changing a blend mode, and you want to use essentially the positive of the pattern. So I'm going to hit open on this one, and you'll see it's actually right now just a seamless pattern, which is really nice. So if you didn't know that was in Affinity, you have that, and you can kind of change the angle and do all sorts of stuff. So we'll scale that down. Now the major change that we want to make here is change the blending mode for that layer, is go all the way down to the bottom to erase, which is super awesome. It's like working with a mask without having to work with a mask. Now the thing you want to be careful is the second I drag that out of that folder, it's applying to my shirt color layer, which I don't want. So throw it in a group, and it'll contain its effect to only what's in that group and what's below it. So that is essentially, it's quick and dirty, so you can basically swap out whenever you want. So if you don't like that pattern, if you have that gradient tool active, just head back up to type and select bitmap again. It'll bring up the dialog, and then just select a different pattern. So let's say we want to grab, we'll grab this one. We'll scale it up a little bit, something like that. Okay, that's cool. You can see it's got some of the shirt fabrics and stuff like that. These are also not thresholded. That's something I wanted to leave for you guys to do. I don't want to kind of dictate how you do your artwork. So now the only thing is, if you want to erase from these guys, it has to be destructive. So you can't apply a mask. So if I apply a mask, you'll see that that whole layer essentially disappears. So I'm going to hit undo. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to rasterize that first. So I'm just going to I'm going to use a shortcut key. But if you right click, you can go to rasterize here. But here's my shortcut. So, you know what, we're there, we'll use it. So once you rasterize, then you can apply a mask, head back to your brushes, make sure you're painting with black, and then you can knock some of that stuff out. So just have it in the areas that you want, select the brush, and, you know, mainly focal points you probably don't want to break up so much. Centers of text, things like that. You know, maybe you don't need it everywhere. But that is essentially it. And you're basically good to go. You see that you've got all the knockouts applied. You've got all the transparency there. And that basically covers it. So if you want, the way that you're going to upload your brushes, just make sure you have your Brushes Studio open. Use the drop-down menu in the top right corner. Go to Import Brushes. Locate where you extracted them. And load them into your panel or studio. And then the same thing for the pattern brushes. You don't need to upload them anywhere. You could actually save this as a style, you know, before I rasterized it. But you're going to use your vector shape tool, drag it in, and you can see with your gradient tool, select bitmap, locate where the bitmaps are, and these are the seamless PNG bitmaps, and drag and drop them in. But like you can see here, you could layer them if you wanted to. You know, you could change the rotation with that by rotating the actual shape or rotating it here. You know, the sky's the limit. So that basically covers it. I hope you took something from it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.